back again for Mid-Tier Thoughts. Today we're going to be talking about shotguns, kind of getting into a little bit of a few different types. I only have a couple of different examples. I'm not a huge shotgun guy when it comes to this, so I don't have a ton of examples of this, but we will kind of go through and talk about shotguns a little bit, useful tools, and some kind of tips and tricks, as well as some stuff out there that's just some FUD lore about them. So when it comes to shotguns, we've got a wide variety of guns that we can look at as examples for. They come in every shape and size. Here, the ones we're going to be looking at today, I've got an H&R single shot 410. Picked this up at a gun show for like $100 a long time ago. So super nice and simple. Going up here, and we'll kind of go into detail a little bit more about these as we go on. This here is my 870, my Remington 870 Tactical Express. I've got a side saddle on here. I've got the Allen shotgun ammo holder on the side. It does have a breacher choke, as well as my LZ light mount on here with the streamlight on it, and then a sling that carries a little bit of extra ammunition. And then here we're gonna have my cameraman's comrade. This is a kind of like an AK-12 in a pistol variant. Gonna look at this a little bit too as well, and kind of talk about single shot, pump action, and semi-auto shotguns. So when it comes to shotguns, the nice thing about them is that ammo is generally relatively pretty cheap, widely available. And for most of you watching this that may be in another country, shotguns are still usually pretty attainable for a majority of countries out there that might have restrictive gun laws, but still allow their citizens to own something. Shotguns are generally one of those things. So you do have a wide variety of ammunition, everything from birdshot to buck to slugs, to some defensive loads that are out there. So you can do a wide variety of things with these. For a long time, especially like in the prepper community and the survival community, shotguns have always been hailed as like the ultimate survival gun, because you can do hunting with it, you can do home defense. With the right loads and the right ammunition, there's a large variety of tasks you can accomplish with this. Also, the price range is wildly varying. So again, something like this, a little single shot 410, whether it be in 410, 20 gauge, 12 gauge, maybe some of the more exotic stuff that you can find out there. Something like this generally runs under $200 all day long. Even brand new out of a shop, I think Stoger was making some of these at the gun shop I worked at before. And those guys, and they were choked. Those guys were running somewhere in the ballpark of like 150-ish, you know? I mean, that's pretty decent for something like this. So something like this, super nice, super reliable, very easy to use. With something like this, it's super simple. Basically, you just load the round in the chamber, close it, cock the hammer, pull the trigger, round fires, drop it, and out it goes. So something like this, it makes for a nice, it makes for a nice way to teach my kids, or have my wife come out and shoot. You could use this for something for small game. There are, for some of the larger ones like 12 gauge, you can get adapters. You can throw in the barrel and you can run different calibers of ammunition. You can run different, 20 gauge, 410, some rifle cartridges, some pistol cartridges. Just kind of depends on what you got out there. So the single shot shotgun, that I have here, my little 410, is probably going to be the most economical and widely available shotgun that you're going to be able to find. I mean, you can usually pick these things up at Walmart. Usually, they have this stuff everywhere. You're talking well under $200. If you go to a pawn shop or something like that, or used, you can definitely get it usually around 100 or less. They're going to come generally in 410, 12, or 20. Give you a wide variety of ammunition types. So we're going to shoot it through rounds through here, kind of show how it works, and see how it does. This is a 3-inch Winchester Super X. We got a piece of steel down there. Pop it out, rocks the shell right out, no problem. So now we've got a just some standard game load 2.5-inch shell. Again, working no problem. There's not much that can go wrong with this. Super easy, super simple. This thing is retard proof. You could make this happen. They even have home defense loads. This here is the Hornady Critical Defense. If I remember correctly, I think this is like 3 discs followed behind with some birdshot, or maybe a little bit larger than birdshot. Basically kind of a get the hell out of my house. So if you need to, I've just got these in a pocket real quick. I'm going to go through and shoot a couple rounds as quick as I can. Just kind of a variety of whatever I happen to have in my pocket to kind of show that, while not the most ideal for home defense or the most ideal for protecting yourself, it will get the job done if you need it to. So here we go. Then as we go to the pump action. Now the pump action, the nice thing about this is it's pretty easy to use, at least in theory. It does take a little bit of working to get used to it, to run it good with repetitions. But that being said, basically all you have to do, at least on my model here, on the Remington, there's a little tab right where my finger's at. We push that, we can pull this open. We can see that it's clear. Rack it forward, you load all your ammunition down through here. My shotgun has a 7+1 tube. Now the one thing that you do have to keep in mind when you start running into things with tube is that you have generally 2 3/4 and 3-inch shells. You do have 3.5-inch, but my shotgun is not made for that. Most of shotguns will tell you on the barrel what they are made for. This is a 12 gauge for 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. Now because you have a size difference there, that 1/4 inch is going to make it to where once you start loading up those rounds, you may not get as many with the 3-inch shells, as you would with the 2 3/4. So this is 2 3/4. You can run 7+1, so 7 in the tube and 1 in the chamber. So the nice thing about these is it's pretty easy to mount side saddles on here. They're not all that expensive. This one happens to be screwed into the receiver by using some of the screws that are on here. They do make ones that are Velcro. Those are pretty sweet. Those shotgun cards you can rip off and slap a new one on. Seen a lot of people run those in kit where they'll take their AR mags out of their other stuff, throw in some of those shotgun cards, and they can just keep slapping it on the gun, as well as similar thing back here. I just happen to have a little shotgun holder, a shotgun ammo holder on the back here, and then my sling. Nothing fancy, something cheap that I got a long time ago that happens to hold a few rounds. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to shotguns, especially with obviously with the single shot, it's one shot. With these guys, you got 7+1. You really only have, if you're going to use this in a defensive scenario, the ammo that's on the gun. We'll kind of go over an easy way in a little bit to carry some shotgun ammunition, but this is really what it breaks down to, is that you have just the ammo that's on the gun. So with this, I've got, if we had this loaded, you'd have 7+1, so we'd have 8 rounds there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, 5 here is 11, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 21 rounds plus the potentially 8 in the gun, so almost 30 rounds of 12 gauge, which realistically, if you have to reload that many times, you're probably pretty screwed. But also the ability to mount a light on here is pretty nice. This is an Elzetta mount. It mounts on both sides of the tube here. So you have it come down underneath the magazine tube, and it kind of sits in a U-notch right here. Holds a flashlight of your choice. I happen to have a Streamlight one up there that works pretty well. So it gives you the ability to, when holding it, reach out and grab the light. Turn that on if you need it. Now, all right, so the pump action shotgun, like I was saying before, whether you're talking like your Mossberg 500, Maverick 88, or my Remington 870, for example, here, all are pretty good. There's not a whole lot of difference between them other than where the safety's at. So with that, correction to my earlier note, this is a 5+1, not a 7+1. I was mistaken on that. I do not have the extended tube like I thought I did. But anyway, this guy, super easy to operate, super simple. One thing I want to address too, working at a gun shop a long time and being in the gun world quite a bit, you hear a lot of FUD lore around there. One of the big common things is usually you get an older guy, generally telling someone who's looking for the first gun to home defense, get a shotgun, aim it down the hallway. You don't even have to pull the trigger, just got to do this. And that'll scare them off, send them running. One thing to make note of, that sound, it's not scaring anybody, man. If someone's breaking your house and they're intent on doing you harm, that's not going to send them running. So if you're going to bring out a gun, make sure it's loaded. So from the side saddle, I like to have these rounds quick and ready to go. So you can just do a simple reload real quick, like this, or, so one of the things I like to do, if you do know you're getting close to running dry, and you do run dry, you can do a thing with pump actions that's called a combat reload. Nice, quick, and easy. It's gonna look like this. You're gonna fire, pump back, pick one round up, roll it over into the chamber, and away you go. So, pump action shotguns, pretty simple, pretty easy. So when it comes to the pump action shotgun, sometimes it does take a little bit more effort than you would think to practice doing this in a stressful environment. I've seen a lot of people where they forget the rack, or they short stroke it, which is when you kind of don't come back all the way and it doesn't grab the next round or chamber it. So it does take a little bit of practice. Contrary to popular belief, it does take a little bit of practice. However, they are relatively simple to use, super easy to clean, and basically when it comes to ammunition, if it fits, it ships. So this here, this is the Kalashnikov USA Comrade. This is a magazine-fed AK style 12 gauge. So this is a 10-round magazine here. They have a 10 and a 5-round variant. This is kind of taking the placeholder of semi-auto AR AK style shotguns. Are there other semi-auto style shotguns out there? Yes, you got like the Benelli M4, you've got the Beretta 1301, the Beretta A300 Patrol. Really nice shotguns that are out there. I don't happen to have a representation of one of this. They're going to look a little bit more like the pump gun, but this is just another example of something that could give you a little bit more availability to mount accessories and optics. So here you've got the AK side rail, like you would on a normal AK. You could do an up and over mount and add an optic. He's already got the foregrip up here. You can add lights. You can add a lot of things to this to make it a little bit more comfortable experience. So that being said, when it comes to shotguns, I know a lot of people run optics and stuff on them. Me personally, like I said before, I'm not a huge shotgun guy. There's not a lot I do that I grab a shotgun for over a rifle. So I don't usually have optics on my shotguns. There are some people out there that do, and there are some people out there that live and swear by it, but that's on them. To get a more in-depth breakdown on this gun as well, for a little more in-depth breakdown too on the Conrad, Conceptual Concept 6.9, one of my buddies, this is actually his shotgun, in-depth more breakdown on this. So he's gonna have that video posted here shortly. So that'll be a good one to go check out and see kind of if you wanna get more into something like this. So with that being said, let's get into it. So now we're gonna be taking a look at the Conrad. Got the 10-round magazine loaded up with a variety of 12 gauge ammunition. Sometimes these can be ammo picky, sometimes they're not. We're just gonna find out together. So with that being said, again, this is kind of just taking the placeholder of the tactical semi-auto 12 gauges. Kind of taking a look at this and see how it performs. So, one malfunction already. It could possibly be ammo related, since I do have a variety of 12 gauge ammunition in here. Let's go again. So, pros and cons. So obviously, we had a couple malfunctions. It's not the magazine, it's because we've shot with this magazine before. I think it might be ammo related, could just be the gun. With that, we're gonna have to shoot it a little bit more to figure that out. But that is one thing to keep in mind. With some semi-auto shotguns, not all of them, that some of them are more ammo picky, some of them are tend to have certain issues with different loads. So that is one of the cons that you have with the semi-auto over the pump action. The pump action will basically eat whatever you want, whatever you throw at it, and the same thing with the brake action. The pro that you get, however, is obviously ease of attachment use, as well as your quicker follow-up shots, and being able to throw lead downrange much faster, at least when it works. So one thing I want to go over real quick is how to carry extra shotgun ammo. So whenever you're carrying a shotgun, you can spend a lot of money getting in the weeds of getting some very specific shotgun kit for plate carriers, chest rigs, things like that. That's totally fine if you want to go that route. I like to find easier, simpler solutions since I'm poor. So with that, this here is a standard USGI bandolier. You get these normally in a big box of ammunition whenever you go to the range in the military. So with these, a lot of people, what they'll do is they will remove this white string right here, and these will fit 30-round magazines for ARs pretty easily. Another thing you can do though, you take your 5-round box of shells, slap it in there, and if you're like me and you've already got 29 rounds or 28 rounds on the gun, you throw this over, and for every one of these, if you really want to double them up, you can, but you've got at least 20 extra rounds on tap, easy to go, ready to go. right? You could get another one on there. Now you got 40 rounds. You can stack them in here loose if you want. I just like keeping them in the box because it's easy just to pull a box out, punch them out real quick, throw them in the gun. Another thing too, never underestimate the power of a fanny pack full of 12 gauge. This is just a cheap Walmart $12, you know, fanny pack full of 12 gauge shells. I think I've got somewhere close to like 35 or 40 rounds in here. A little heavy, yes. You could wear it like a normal fanny pack, or you could buckle it, loosen it, and throw it on. It's still kind of tight for my waist, but you could throw it on like this, run shells out of here all day long. So there are a couple cheap, easy ways to carry 12 gauge ammunition. I know this video was oh, actually we'll cut that part out so I look like a retard. I know this video was a little all over the place and a little longer than some of our videos, trying to go over a couple different things. That being said, thanks for staying with us. Thanks for bearing with me.